To have passion in life is everything.
What's your Everest?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
that 200-inch buck?
They just look so impressive when they're wide.
Especially running away.
Welcome to this week's episode of Eastmans Elevated.
It's like a think tank for outdoor activity.
Sounds exactly like my hunting. Just always thinking about it, always trying to evolve it and make it better.
Here's your host, Barney.
Hey, what's happening, guys? So I got a solo podcast. I want to sit down and record real quick. It's just been an awesome August, and I just want to share some of my adventures with you, share some of my successes, and also some of my lessons learned, and just some things that are so pertinent to when you're on the hunt. You know, I know you guys, you probably already started on some of your hunts, but you probably have some other good ones coming up here in September, and I just want to get you the information that's going to help you enjoy your experience more and be more successful in the mountains. And so I just want to share what I've learned this season so far. And you know, I just had some revelations in the mountains and learned some hard lessons. And like I said, also had some successes and want to draw from that. And I just want to embrace the experience and embrace the adventure. Like, that's what this whole thing is about, is enjoying our time afield, enjoying this passion and this adventure that we have to be able to disappear in the mountains and go match wits with these animals. And so, you know, I have some thoughts on that I want to share with you guys as well. So we'll get right into it. I've got a podcast coming up on this Alaska caribou trip I did, but that was the first trip I had. And so what an amazing trip. Went up there, met my Hawaii friends. There was 3 of those guys up there. Met my buddy Chase. We had another local guy, Scott, in our camp, and we just had an amazing time. Man, it's so fun. I mean, all 3 of the Hawaii guys filled out, a couple just really nice caribou. I was able to harvest one the last day and execute a perfect stalk and shot on it. It was just an incredible trip, an incredible adventure. Like, it's just so far away from Montana. It's so different. That tundra with the muskeg and the open spaces, and then those caribou, they're just so well suited for it. They're like hunting an antelope with 400-inch horns. They're just an amazing animal, and maybe we're getting a little bit more of the pressured caribou around that haul road where they've been hunted before, but they're switched on to predators. They're as wary as an antelope out on the prairie, looking for movement, looking for things out of place. You know, I had a couple catch me just right in the final phases of getting drawn and getting a shot, like no movement or anything, just picked me out there. Got to have the wind right, and so it was such a fun trip, and it's just like to be able to chase a different species and a different habitat. It's just amazing. I've always lived for that. I just like just different challenges, different species. Like, I love elk and mule deer, and you know, some of my favorite hunts and favorite species to go after. But it's so nice just to immerse yourself into a different place and a different habitat and ecosystem and try to figure it out and try to be successful. And so we just had an amazing trip up there. Good weather, got cold, like 30s and low 40s and raining quite a bit and wet and cold, and but gosh, it was perfect. You know, the weather kind of knocked the mosquitoes down for some of the days, and then some of the days seemed like if it got above 42 degrees, they'd get bad, but it didn't take away from the hunt at all. Just an incredible hunt. You have that. And we hunt that haul road. I've told you that before. It's just such a great blue-collar adventure where you're not paying for avgas. You get to use a vehicle and kind of be able to have a mobile camp where you can move your camp to get in the pulse of caribou and kind of use that road to locate, you know, different batches of them and bachelor herds of them, and then make plays from there, and even get off. Like, you get a mile away from that road, you don't see anybody. You have it all to yourself. It's you versus the caribou, and there's just some bulls out there that just blow your mind. I mean, 400 inches, 450 inches of antlers, just huge tops. And man, I crawled in on this one bull and crawled in, and they were bedded on a ridge line. And so I crawled in, and I think there was 3 bulls there, maybe 4 bulls. And I could have shot 2 of them, 2 of the mediums, but I really wanted that big guy. That big guy had to have, 40 points looking at me and just huge tops. And I crawled in and got into range, and then that big bull ended up working around my bad wind side and ended up spooking. I didn't get a shot at him. Had kind of he was on the outsides of my bow range, we'll say, and just wanted to get closer and put a shot on him, but it didn't work out. It's not always going to work out on these stocks, and that's why you make them. It's not a perfect science, but you're trying to get it as high percentage as you can. And I love, you guys have heard me talk about these methodical, slow stalks on these muleys. It has made me so much better of a hunter, and including this year, my muley hunting is just taken my hunting to the next level. And so we did that hunt. We did Nevada. I went down there with Logan, that cameraman of mine. We filmed that. I just put out that podcast last week. Hunting that high country up and through there. Got a couple chances at those bucks, and then found that nice buck with good backs down on the sage flat down there, and just made a. It was just an incredible stock. It was just crawling in on that thing, having not much cover, letting patience and the bucks dictate my move, waiting for the right wind to pick up in the afternoon. Just played it right, and then to put a perfect shot on them. That was a great ending to that hunt, and great adventure like that Nevada high country. I love that Nevada high country. It's kind of a drier high country, sits around 10,000 feet. There was no water on top, which made it really challenging. But you're able to find a nice buck and get a good arrow into him. Put the whole thing down on film, which was really cool, which is just an added degree of difficulty. But so fun. I'm getting better at getting the right shots and sharing the adventure. I'm just really excited to release this one to you guys. And then on to my trip I've been waiting all year for. So my trip to the Colorado high country. And man, oh man, what an adventure it was. And so I'd planned on this being a solo hunt. I actually haven't, I'll do solo hunts here and there and some weekends. And I'm trying to think of the last true solo, high country hunt I've done. And it's been a couple years, and I need more of that. It's good for me, but it's also good to have a partner. And so Logan, he wanted to come along in Colorado and take photos for me up there. And so we worked out a deal, and so he came along with me. It's kind of like a guy, I'm going to climb Everest. Do you want to come along? I've been training, every single day. And for that matter, I've been training for the last 15 years for this hunt. Like I trained so hard for these backpacking hunts because I know how difficult they are. And I mean, you guys that have been on these hunts already this year or going on these hunts, like you have to relearn your lesson again. Like it's so tough in the mountains, like, and your mind plays tricks on you up there. You have to, it is the true testament of mental strength. It's just to keep believing in yourself, keep believing you can turn up bucks, keep putting those miles after miles. Like, I love working out, and I love running. I love being into the mountains bow hunting, and even my mind still plays tricks on me. And I've been through this for years, but you get up there and you start thinking, oh man, what about work? Did I make that phone call? I wonder how everything's going, and of course, it seems like if it can go wrong while you're up there, it does, and or then you start thinking your family and how much they mean to you and this time away from them. But all this time has been planned for. You've been planning for it all year. You've put the people in place. Like I've left the business in good hands. I've got guys on job sites every single day. Like I'm not leaving a train wreck. And same thing with my family. My wife and kids support me 110% to go on these adventures, and they realize what it means to me and the passion I have in my life, and it makes me a better person. And I'll get into it, but this Colorado hunt gave me such great reflection in my life. Like it was almost like crystal clear looking at my life. Like I was able to, I was able to kind of see my direction and where I want things to go and how I want my life to be structured. And not only do I want to be, a next level hunter and next level backcountry bow hunter, like I've worked my life to become this, like it means the world to me, but I have to transpose that. Like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so in my life, like I want to be next level general contractor. Like I want to make sure that I'm giving my clients the absolute, best deal I can, and I'm working as hard as I can and giving them the absolute best product I can. And that transposes into my family life too. And it's, making sure, I want to be a next level husband and a next level father. Like I say I'm never tired. I always get in my runs. I always get in shoot my bow. I always get in my training. That should go for my life and my wife and kids, and it does. But I can be better. I can improve, and it's just it's stepping up to do the little thing. For me, like just helping out more, like trying not to be tired when I come home from work, trying to have real quality time with the girls and laughing and joking around and then, help out, whether it's, cooking dinner that night, giving my wife a break, or, whether it's, clean up after dinner, just picking up the house, or running the girls in for volleyball or basketball, or just trying to take some pressure off the household and just trying to do absolutely everything I can. And I mean, the main thing is just quality time. Make sure I'm not inside my own head thinking about something else at work. Like, let that shit go. Whoops, I had to edit that out. But let that stuff go. Like, it isn't that big of a deal. Like, the important things in life are spending that quality time with your family. Like each and every minute you have with them, just cherish it. My girls are going to be grown and gone before I know it. And so, I just want to make sure that I'm laughing and I'm having fun and I'm enjoying my time at home and then just being the absolute best man I can be. But anyways, these hunts give me such reflection on that. And so my family supports me, work supports me. I got people in place, I know better. I know that my mind's trying to play tricks on me at this point. I've been on enough of these backcountry hunts. And so, I have done a really good job this year on my hunts of really enjoying myself. Like, this is what I love to do. I know it's tough. I know it's grueling, but I love this. I love being in the mountains. There's just, it's built into our DNA just to touch the dirt and just to live in the mountains and have to deal with storms. And man, I feel so alive when I'm back there, and I've done a really good job of just embracing the experience this year and just making sure I'm letting all my stresses go, and I'm enjoying it 100%. So I've done a really good job at that. You just, like you say, it's just it's knowing that your mind is going to try to play tricks on you. You don't know which direction it's going to try to take you, but you get back there in the mountains and you'll have some other stresses that come up, and you just have to put them to ease and say, I've waited, I've prepared for this all year. Like, I'm giving this my all in here. And so we, Logan, he wants to come to Colorado. He's committing to go climb Everest with me, something that I've been training for all year long. And I kind of told him the climbs we had, and it is brutal getting in there. And same thing I've told you about altitude sickness, exhaustion sickness. And I think Logan had it the first day. We paced ourselves pretty good getting in there, but it's just a bunch of miles and a bunch of elevation. And then you've got, your weight on your pack. Backpacking just isn't easy, and so I know he threw up some water a couple times that first night, had to take it easy kind of that second day. I was a little worried about him. But I mean, he did great on the hunt. He kept pushing. He'd stay on the scope for me and watch vantage points, watch bucks. There was a couple times he just saved my bacon. As I'd get back, I'd make a play or try to set myself up in striking distance and lose that buck, and come back and find out he's got the buck bedded or kept his eyes on it. It was a real asset. And then too, just being able to share the experience with somebody, bounce ideas off them. And so I really had a good time with them. So Colorado, you guys have heard me talk about these next level bucks and my goals for this year, and that I'm going to produce one of these bucks and it's going to happen. And so I get back into Colorado. It's a different year this year in Colorado. I'm not seeing bucks in the same locations. I don't know if they're down in secondary living. What I think happened was, I think that bad winter 2 years ago got them. But I mean, usually where I see 100 bucks, I think I saw 9 bucks total on the entire trip, and 5 of which were 2 points. And I covered miles and hunted hard, hunted like a madman. I covered all the drainages I wanted to hunt in this backcountry spot. And the backcountry spot that I have, it doesn't have endless, backcountry basins. It's got, some up on the main ridgeline, but then it drops all into this thick aspen patch down below where, you're going to have a tough time bow hunting anything in there. You can't glass it, can't see it. You have to still hunt it. And, but the bucks just weren't there. It wasn't the same. Like I say, I saw 9 bucks total on the entire trip, where normally I'd see 109. But it's just the way it is. There's still deer around. I saw fawns. Like, that place is going to recover. It's going to come back. And two, it's an opportunity for me to go learn new spots in Colorado. I've hunted 3 different units. I've hunted, I know 6 or 7 times in Colorado, but it's time to branch out and kind of get out of this area I've been in for a long time and look for some new spots, because Colorado has some awesome bucks. But so my goals for this year to kill a next level buck. And so I get in there. I'm not turning up any bucks. I mean, the money basins that I'm counting on, I can't even find a buck in them. But finally, I turn up this group of bucks. And one of them is just the one. I mean, the one I've dreamed about, for my whole hunting career, but especially for the last year. I've killed some good bucks, but this one's right up there with them. Like, things 34, 36 wide, deep forks front, deep forks back, like over 200 inches, just the one. So heavy and so wide, just looks at you, just takes your breath away. I got a ton of video of them, and I found the buck I wanted. So now it's just a matter of being patient. And when you're planning your stocks, you start to get to a place, and I think I thought of this funny saying, but it definitely doesn't apply to me, as I don't have everything figured out in the world. I'm just still learning like everybody else. But right now, definitely after Colorado, after this Montana antelope, I've gone 4 for 4. Like, I feel like Neo in the Matrix. I feel like I know what the right moves are and the right moves I can make. The deal is on these stocks. I just know what I can get away with and what I can't, and I don't push it. And so, I've been getting into range of these things, and it's been clear to me now, seeing it. And number one is that wind. And that wind, I learned my lesson again in Nevada. I was trying to hunt these bucks, and they were on the lee wind side. And you guys hear me talk about the winds and a better understanding of them. I mean, really, it's just catching a buck, in a good spot with a good wind. But it's just amazing. When you have a good wind, you can get away with anything. I'd take a good wind in wide open country over about any conditions. That wind. The wind is what you need, right? And it seems like when things go wrong for me, it's like I'm trying to cheat that wind. And in Nevada, I had a couple failed stalks on bucks, and I was trying to hunt them on that lee wind side, and that wind. So, the wind is pushing against the south side, and I'm hunting the north, and then the wind goes over that south side and then just swirls over there. And normally those thermals coming up would do you good, but on that top third of the mountain, that wind's just rolling over there. And so, I think the most important factor, whether you're going to make a stock or not, is that wind, and just living and dying by it. You have to believe in it, and there is no that buck's in the perfect spot, but the wind's not right. That just doesn't work. It doesn't. Almost every time it fails, and so. I've got to learn this lesson. I think I've finally learned it, but I have to believe in it, and it's gonna come. I'm really gonna have to use it here coming up for elk season. Elk season, elk hunting has a lot more swirling winds in that, and I'm gonna have to be really good at reading the winds and choosing when to make my play and when not. But with these mule deer, when you can get a dominant wind, and like that buck I killed in Nevada. I had him in a good spot. I had a good wind, but I started to make my stalk, and it was so still in those morning hours that I backed out and I waited for the winds to come up. And those afternoon winds, they're afternoon directionals. When those things come up, God, they make noise around those mule deer's ears where they can't pick out noise or your footfalls as much. It just hides so much more, and then you're just positive you're not going to get winded. And so, watch this buck, and he's not in a good spot. Beds, gosh, we're just looking at him, and he's bedded in a decent spot. It's just the winds aren't right, and so I just choose not to go in. And we watch this buck. We watched him for a couple days there, and finally puts himself in a bad spot, and he's bedded with these 6 bucks. And I tell Logan, I said, man, I think I can get in on him. I got afternoon winds, you watch from the spotting scope. I'm gonna go for it. And I went all the way around. And I creep into these trees, and I get right into these bucks, and I've got a perfect wind, and I've got 2 bucks bedded in front of me, one at 30 yards, the other one, is 35. There's 6 bucks in the group. I could have shot the other 5 of these bucks, I could have shot, 5 times over. And there was one buck that was a good one in there. He was like mid 180s, maybe a touch more with his non-typical points. He was like a 9x5 or a 10x5 or something. He had a bunch of non-typical extras on the one side, just a beautiful buck, and then another really heavy old one. I could have shot both of those bucks, but I'm just waiting. And so I wait there a couple hours with a good wind with these bucks feeding around. I haven't seen this big guy for a while, and I'm just waiting for him to come out. And finally, like, the last place I saw him was in this timber, and so I know he's going to come out fairly close to me. And all of a sudden, here he comes, and nothing knows I'm there. No bucks know I'm around or anything. And he walks through my shooting lane at 32, 35 yards, something like that, and I draw back, and I decide not to grunt and stop him. Like, he just keeps walking, and then he turns and he walks away from me. And so I'm grabbing ranges 40, 50, and I'm trying to see my shot. And he just keeps walking away from me. And then he walks over to 2 of these bigger bucks that had actually gotten out a little bit further from me. So now they're at 60 yards, and I'm getting ranges on them. But he's intermingling with these bucks. And you guys have heard me talk like effective range. I like to get close and kill them, but 60 and in, that's me, and so I don't need the ethics police coming after me or anything, but this buck just kept walking out. And now, maybe in hindsight, you think, gosh, I should have scooted a little closer, or, should have, bucks had no idea I was there. I had a good wind. I could have kept playing the game, but he finally offered me a shot, and he was at 69. And, I know I can make that shot. I mean, my target sits out there. I shoot my 75-yard target every single day. And so he's out there. He's definitely at max distance I want to shoot at. But, he's there broadside. He has no idea I'm there. And for me, like, I'd rather shoot at a calm deer that doesn't know I'm there a little bit further than I would a close deer that's on high alert. And so here's my chance. My chance I have waited all year for. My chance I have trained all year for, and he's standing out there, and I've got a good range on him, and I draw back. And when you draw back on these animals too, like it's like almost like you have to tell yourself, like, a conscious effort to put your pin on them. Just a trick I've used. Now nothing that was happened on this deer. I mean, my pin settled right on him, right where it should, center of body, and just held there like a rock, right where it needs to be. And I executed a perfect shot, put it on him, and I just see that arrow, and I just watch it wind drift, and the buck's facing to the right, and I watch this arrow just wind drift to the right. And I mean, I should know better. Like, I shoot the wind every single day. I live in Ennis, Montana, for God's sakes. The wind's always blowing here, and I know how much a 5 or 10 mile an hour wind can affect a broadhead at 69 yards. And I caught up in the moment, the devil's in the details, whatever it is. Like, I was planning for a shot at 30 yards or at 50 yards or whatever the case, where you just don't have to deal with much wind drift. And where I was at, I was tucked in these little stunted growth trees or whatever, and so the wind wasn't blowing where I was at. It's part of the reason my bow held so steady. But right out in front of me, I've got those afternoon directionals, and I've got like probably a solid 10 to 15 mile an hour crosswind. And I just didn't account for it. And I shot, and I watched that arrow wind drift and miss him right by the front of his brisket. Good up and down, just missed him in the front of him. And man, just a killer. God, I hate to miss those things. And especially the one you want, the one you've been after, the one you've been training for. But you can't have shots back. He ran out there to 120 yards, stared at me, and just looking at him through my binos, like, what an amazing specimen. I mean, just the absolute one. And I mean, you're upset at yourself, but in the same breath, it's just like, man, it's such an amazing experience for me to be able to get to match wits with a buck like that and hunt a buck like that on public land. That is truly something special. And but that, they sat out there at 120 yards. I didn't move a muscle and let them kind of work down below me, and they ended up spooking and going out. And I watched the last place they went. I watched them for like a mile and a half where they went. It's got a good direction on where they went, and I just missed them. I mean, devil's in the details. Watch that arrow wind drift. You think you've thought of everything, and then there you are in that moment of adrenaline, and you just make a mistake. If I would have bubbled all the way over. If I would have aimed back a little bit on him, it'd be a different story, but it's just not. And, it's just one of those deals. And so buck takes off. And so we looked for that buck for a couple days, any basin he could have gone in. Maybe he changed units. Maybe he dropped down into the aspens, into secondary living. Who knows? I couldn't turn him up. And I checked every drainage I could walk to up and through there, glassed everyone. That was my shot, and it didn't come together. And it's, man, I mean, it gets to you. I hate missing, it's something that you want so bad, that you've worked so hard for, and then to miss them clean. But, it's the reality of it, too. Like I told you guys, I'm never going to be 100% with my bow in my hands. There's always things that can happen. There's always things that can go wrong. Bucks can jump your string, be wind drift, and be a bad range, a detail, as good as I want to be, hopefully someday I'm in the 99% or the 95%, but for now, I'm shooting really good and making clean kills, but I just messed that one up. I totally duffed it. And no matter how upset you are, it's you can't have it back. You can't have that arrow back. Once it's released, there's nothing you can do, but you can learn from it and pick yourself up. So, I'm pretty low in there, but then, I get looking around, and I'm 13,000 feet in Colorado. I've worked so hard to get back in here. I'm in the place that I've dreamed about hunting for, I haven't drawn it since 2015. And so, I've dreamed about hunting this spot for 3 years. I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to pick myself up, and, the next time I get a shot, I'm going to make it happen. And so that was my mindset back there, but it was tough. I just couldn't turn up that big buck again. Started traveling country and looking over different drainages, and there just wasn't many bucks to be found. It was tough. And finally, this one morning, I turn up this nice 4-point, and he's by himself. And so I look at him, and I go, no, I'm gonna pass. And so I pass on him, and then we end up working up the ridge, looking over a couple more backcountry basins, and I'm looking at 3 of the best backcountry basins you could ever put eyes on, and I just can't find a buck. And I look for the majority of the day, and it starts getting into the afternoon. I turn and look at Logan, and it's man, what am I doing? I love to bow hunt, and I love to bow hunt mule deer, and there's a mature 4 or 5-year-old deer down there. Logan, I think we should go hunt that deer, and it's you almost have to adapt your expectations to the conditions you're given too. And maybe I could hold out, maybe I turn up another good buck or another one of those next levels, but it's a good, mature, heavy buck down there. And, if he gives me a shot, I should give him a try. And so, man, it was a fun hunt on that buck. We went back down, sat there for a couple hours trying to relocate him, didn't know where he had gone or where he had bedded, and then turned him back up back there and watched him get out of his bed and feed around. And, man, hunting those mule deer, okay, sometimes hunting axis and elk, you have to hunt them on their feet and hunt them while they're feeding. And mule deer, too. During the rut, I hunt them on their feet a lot. And even during the early season, this is a lone buck, and I just figure, man, he's on his feet. He's going to be on his feet for a little bit. I'm going to try to slip down there and arrow him while he's up on his feet. Man, it is such an advantage to hunt a deer in his bed or to bed down, whatever it is, whether it's an axis deer, an elk, but especially a mule deer in high country. I tell you guys about bedding them, waiting for them to get to their second bed, but you can just make such a precise stalk when you know where those deer are, you know where they can see, they're not going to move, and then you can just tiptoe down into range. But I try to make it a stalk on this buck in his bed, and coming around this limb, I catch him down there, and he's looking in my direction, and so I have to freeze. And I freeze for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, this thing's looking up in my direction. He must have caught some movement in between the branches or something maybe, or I don't know. I got a really good wind on him, but, I think he was just trying to stalk him on his feet. And so he kind of walks down and below me, and I lose sight of him. And so I walk all the way back up, climb my 1,000 feet back up to Logan on the scope. Just man, I think he picked me out in those branches down there. And he goes, yeah, he walked down and then bedded down behind this tree. So he must have looked in my direction long enough and just realized I was nothing up there, or thought that I was nothing, and he bedded back down in this spot. And so, okay, game on. And so I roll back down and I slip back into position there. And man, I creep right in on this buck. I get maybe 25 yards away from his bed, and I've just got a great wind, and I've got these couple trees that I'm tucked into, this brush, and I just sit there and I wait. And man, I wait for like I think 2.5, 3 hours for this thing to stand back up, and he finally stands back up, and then feeds by, and I get a really good 38-yard shot on him and put it on him, and I can see he's hurt, and he doesn't make it much further. We get him in, get a double lung shot on him, and he dies and expires. And what a cool experience. I mean, I up there in Colorado, like, just even to get back to the spot I'm at, like, it was me versus the deer. There's no other hunters around. It's like truly what I live for, and to be able to arrow that buck means the world to me. And just like a really nice, heavy, good buck. And you know, I maybe changed my goals a little bit along the way. And man, I'm telling you, like, you really in life, you guys hear me talk about like being happy and getting the most out of life and the fulfillment. Like, it's weird what starts to creep into your head. Like, all of a sudden, you know, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, like, you know, I'm a little disappointed. I didn't kill that mega buck. And so, like, I've got to, like, pull myself out of that funk. Like, I'm in Colorado. You know, I got to pack this buck out. I don't know how many miles to the truck. Like, I better have a smile on my face. Like, I just did what I set out to do. And, like, harvesting a mature 4-point buck is no easy feat. Like, yeah, I mean, it may seem easy for some guys that produce them nonstop, but man, I mean, to go back into the wilderness of Colorado above 13,000 feet, find yourself a 4-point buck and stick a perfect arrow in him, that's no easy feat. That's something I should really be proud of myself for. You know, I just had such high expectations, and then also, you know, to miss that big buck and have that thing and be looking at him for days on end, and then, you know, have him slip through my fingers. Like, it's tough to compare any buck to that one. Like, that thing's probably top 10 in the world, you know, as far as typicals killed with a bow. And so it's tough. Like, and I battle in that same headspace, and comparison really is the thief of all happiness. Like, comparing yourself to other guys, to what other guys have produced, like, all of a sudden you start feeling like less of yourself or less of the buck that you harvested. Like, those aren't the right feelings. Like, and I'm just being completely honest with you guys of some of the feelings I had and what I had to kind of pull myself out of. But you know, and you see these guys, and man, there's some great hunters out there, but I'm on my own path and on my own journey, and I'm on my own path for adventure, personal happiness, to explore my passion, really have something that fires me up, that has me training hard. And I'm not going to lie to you, you guys hear me talk about next level bucks, next level bulls. Like, I talk about it all the time. Like, that is what motivates me. It's what keeps me training hard. But really, the fun of bow hunting is being out there, is making stalks, it's making plays, it's getting close, it's having those thrilling encounters. Like, that's the fun of bow hunting to me. So I do have some of those feelings of disappointment, of regret for shooting that buck, and I just gotta pull myself out of it. You know, don't compare myself to some of these other giant bucks that are being killed. Like, I'll come up with those too. You know, don't kid yourself. I'm on my own path and on my own journey, but I'm gonna bump into another 200-inch buck, and I'm gonna get it right. Like, and I'm gonna work really hard to do it, and I'm gonna use that failure of missing that buck. That's gonna be my motivation for the next year to come. I mean, I just got back from the Colorado hunt, and my feet are beat up, and we packed that buck out for miles, and instantly I'm back on the trails, and I'm back running, and I'm back shooting my bow, and I'm thinking about bow hunting. Like, it's going to drive me to be a better hunter. It's going to drive me to produce those. And I do, like, I think about those bucks and those accomplishments of killing, 7, 8, 9-year-old mule deer. Like, that is what I want to achieve. It's the goals that I've set out for myself, but sometimes the conditions just aren't going to be conducive to killing a buck like that. If you can't find a buck like that, you're not going to kill a buck like that. And some areas just don't have them. Some years, some conditions don't have them. And like, I could have very easily came back from that hunt with a tag in my pocket, which I said I was going to do. I said I was either going to come back with my tag in my pocket, or I was going to kill a giant. And it's the one thing I need to work on too, like not being negative on myself, but in that same breath, like there's improvement to be made. Like patience kills the buck, and there's all kinds of next level patience. I mean, I just watched Ryan Lampers just killed that giant out of Colorado. He sat on that buck without a stock for 7 days, and good on him, man. That is next level. That is insane. Tony Treach, he sat on his giant buck for 4 days. He scouted almost the entire month. Like those guys put in the work. They deserve those bucks. And, the same for me. I need to step up my game, and I need to earn one of those bucks. And by doing so, like I need to scout harder in the early season. I need to really commit the days to one of those hunts to where it's like, I'm not coming back without the one I want, without big buck. But, that being said, like I don't want to be negative. There's just, from every hunt, there's positives and negatives, and there's lessons to be learned. But I can't be thinking have negative thoughts about this hunt that I went and killed a really nice, heavy, mature deer. Like, I got to be psyched for myself, and I also got to be proud of myself. I put in so much work to get back into this backcountry of Colorado. It was tough conditions. I missed a deer. The easy thing would have been, after I couldn't find that deer, to give up, and I didn't. I just kept hunting, and I kept looking, kept pushing. And I earned an opportunity, and I put a perfect arrow in that buck. It was a quick, clean kill, some great organic meat to bring home to my family that we had to pack miles out of the Colorado backcountry. Like, I had to suffer, and I had to work at it. I had, trials and tribulations. Like that's what I live for. That's what bow hunting is. And if it was easy and I killed a giant one every time I went back in there, like I'd probably have to find something else to do. Like, I love the challenge. I love how difficult it is, and I love embracing that. And like I say, we're all just on our own journey. Like, I can't compare myself to what Randy Ulmer produces every year. Like, sure, I want to produce those bucks. Sure, I find those bucks, but man, it just isn't in the cards every year for me yet. Will it be in the future? I hope so. I'm going to keep working hard towards those goals to be able to harvest those bucks. But for now, like, I have to be happy with myself. I have to be happy with the experience, happy with living in the dirt and living out of my tent for days on end, weathering storms, making stocks. And my stock game is just so on point right now. Like I say, it sounds like arrogant or something, but I do. I feel like Neo in the Matrix. Like, I just know what the right moves are, and I know when I can get in on a buck or when I can't. And my shooting is going so well. Like I'm really executing good shots, pinpoint accuracy. I just, I missed one of the details in shooting at that big buck. So anyways, excuse me. I don't want to talk the whole time about that buck. It is what it is. I'm going to use it for motivation, but I did have an incredible experience in Colorado, and I did enjoy it to the fullest. Like, I had some moments there where I had to kind of pick myself up here or there and go, man, what, you just shot this giant heavy buck, and you're upset that you didn't kill a bigger one. Like, stop being such an asshole. Like, I just, God dang it. Like, man, you be happy with what you've accomplished. Be happy with your experience and with your hunt. And, I mean, there's no place I'm happier than in the mountains like that, challenging myself. And, you better enjoy it while you're there. Sometimes, I get so driven that I forget to stop and smell the roses or stop to enjoy the scenery. And I just, I want to continue to work on that and just be happy back there. Like have fun and not have the pressure on myself either. Like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but just have fun with it and get in stocks. Like, that's what bow hunting means to me. So came back from Colorado. I feel really good about the hunt. I feel really good about the adventure. Like, that is like climbing Everest back there. It takes next level effort to get anywhere. That high elevation, you're always climbing, steep miles. It was just so fun. And a challenge, and I get to find some new areas in Colorado, but I still got a lot of the season left, man. I got a lot of hunting to do and a couple tags in my pocket, and so I got back to Montana. I always do all my own butchering. I love processing my own game. I love cutting it up, packaging it. Made some jerky out of it for the rest of hunting season, and but got my buck all processed and taken care of. And then comes to the weekend, and it's opener here in Montana for deer and elk. Now I have been gone all of August, and so I've got to stick around, get some things done, take care of some chores and things. But I can sneak out in the early mornings or sneak out for an evening hunt here or there. So I sneak out for antelope one evening. I kind of look around, and I'm real patient at my stalks. I'm waiting, and my antelope hunting, I usually look for just a good, decent one that's over 70 inches, and if he's over 70, then I make a play. I haven't killed an 80-inch antelope yet, but in the same breath, like, I really use antelope to improve my stalking skills, and I like playing the game on them, and my valley isn't known for giant 80-inchers either. Like, our public land parcels that we have here, like, if you get a chance at a good 70-incher, you should take it and make a play. And so I go out, I look at some bucks, and I don't get any plays. I think that's Friday night. No plays. Oh, I went to my daughter's volleyball game, watched that, and then snuck out of there while she had to stay and watch varsity play. She's a freshman this year. And so I snuck out and went hunting and got to look at some antelope, kind of get out of the truck and make some plays, on some benches and kind of get close and see if something will kind of happen, and nothing really pans out. And so I make my walk back, put on some good miles, and just having fun with hunting. And so I wake up early Saturday morning and go out to one of my money spots. And the money spots, I'm also I've got some good bulls in there and some good bucks too. Excuse me. So it's kind of a combo trip where I can glass some good features and might turn up some bulls. I turned up a monster bull in there a couple of years ago, and so I go back and kind of glass some features in the morning. I see some good bucks. They're right on private, and so they might cross onto public. They're right next to it, and so I thought, well, I'll come back and check into them, see if any of them bed on that public in there. And I look around and start seeing a few antelope here and there, and I spot this group of bucks, and there's 5 bucks out there. And 2 of them are pretty good ones. There's one that's so thick and heavy and good prongs, and then there's another one that's really tall that doesn't have good prongs, but both of them are well over 70. And so I figure, well, if I get a chance at one of those, I'll make it happen. And so I got a good wind, and so I start making my way towards them and kind of closing the distance, a mile, half mile, quarter mile, and they're just feeding this big flat. And then I find like this drainage that kind of goes into this flat where I can kind of get low and make my way closer to them. And so I get inside of maybe, 140 yards or so, and then I've got to start crawling through the cactus there. I didn't stick my knees or my hands in any. Boy, is that painful. It's not the big cactus that gets you. It's all like these little tiny cactuses that get you when you get them. Like, you put your knee in it. Like, the big ones pull out and they're a little painful. They hurt. But there's all these like microfiber cactuses. And you guys that have been in cactus know exactly what I'm talking about. And that stuff, it almost has to get infected and work its way out of your leg if you get it. But I kind of crawl through the cactus and I just kind of get set up, and I get to about 80 yards on these things. And then they're just kind of working at me, feeding. And pretty soon that big mass buck gives me a good quality shot. And I mean, I just put it on him. Man, it's a perfectly executed shot. Double lung him. He ran off about maybe 80 yards, 10 seconds or so, and tipped over. So that's how it went down. My first stalk on antelope. Last year was my second stalk on antelope. I mean, I've had years, these things are in the wide open prairie and they're switched on. Like, I've had years where I've had to go 20 stalks or 25 stalks where I'm hunting them into September and October. But this year it just came together, and he's a really nice heavy goat. Guy's like 75, he's right up there with some of the best I've killed. He's not the longest in the world. Like, he's only 12 and a half inches, but he's got 7-inch bases and really nice prongs on him. I'm just stoked with him. And of course those feelings creep in again. Like, maybe I should have held out for a bigger one. And it's like, no, you shouldn't have. Like, that's a 75-inch goat, like one of your best goats. Like, no, you get a chance at that. Like, you make a play, and if you get a good ethical shot on him, you put a good shot on him. So stoked on that antelope. The only regret is that your hunting season is over so soon on antelope. Antelope's one of those things that I kind of use the evenings around here to kind of hunt them, and I get more hunting days in that way. And like I say, it really fine tunes my stalking skills, what I can get away with and what I can't. But you can't pass one on the first day that you'd shoot on the last day, or be psyched to shoot on the last day. So yeah, stoked. Perfect execution, done deal. So I got a couple tags left: Montana elk, Montana deer. Might pick up another Idaho mule deer tag, and maybe do coos late. But now the focus shifts to Montana elk. So this is a spot that I really want to improve. I talk about what I can improve on, like that giant Colorado muley. Everybody's got their line of what they'll shoot and what they're happy with. And these bulls, I've been chasing big bulls for years. And I used to chase them with my rifle when I first started hunting Montana. And I turned up and shot some really good bulls. And then I dedicated myself to the bow. Like I think 2007 was the first year I said, no more. I'm not going to, I'm going to dedicate myself to a bow and arrow. And the reason I did it is like you keep in a bow hunter's mindset and you continue hunting with your bow even during rifle season. And you're always thinking about the wind, and you're always thinking about your moves to get close to these animals, and you just keep in this bow hunter's mindset and never come out of it. Like you improve and get better. And so when I get these chances at these big critters, I thought I'd give myself a better percentage or a higher chance of being able to harvest one. And so I dedicated to the bow after that. I killed a really nice 350 bull with my rifle, couple 320, 330, couple really nice bulls with my rifle, excuse me. Committed to my bow, and then killed some really nice bulls with my bow. I've got some 330 bulls with my bow, and I kill a nice 6-point every single year, and I'm proud of that. Like that elk really makes a difference for my family, making it through the winter, not having to buy meat. There's just so much more meat on an elk than a deer, and I love elk hunting. Like there is nothing more exciting and thrilling than hunting elk during the rut of September and early October. I love it. And I horn hunted for a lot of years in those early years, and I still horn hunt a little bit, but I went hard back in my early days, and I gained knowledge from it. You learn where bulls bed, where they feed, how to glass them, how to look at features. It's taught me so much about elk hunting and hunting in general. But dedicated my bow, killed some really nice ones with my bow, and I've killed a 6-point every single year with my bow for years on it. Like I'm probably going on 10, 12 years. I think there's 1 year in there where I didn't kill one. But yeah, I shoot a nice 6-point every single year, but this is the spot where I need to improve. Like I don't need to kill the biggest bull in the woods every year. I don't need to hold out for a 370, 380 because I like making plays and I like hunting elk, but I really need to hold out for the next level 6-point. I've killed a bunch of bulls now in that 300 to 320 range. Like that's what I've been killing like the last 6 years or so. And they're really nice bulls. And don't get me wrong, I'm really happy to harvest those bulls and get the opportunity and have the meat for my family. And it is an absolute difference maker. But I want to set my sights a little bit higher. I want to make it a little bit tougher on myself, and nothing insane, like a nice 330 bull or so, or above, and really hold out for that and extend my season. I've got plenty of meat already with caribou and a couple mule deer and an antelope. I'm sure I'll end up with some more deer. I can kill some white-tailed does if I need to, but really hold out for a good bull, one that I'm just absolutely psyched with when I walk up to, and not that I'm not psyched with a decent 6-point bull. Like I love hunting elk. Here's this trophy hunter's mentality of me again, and it's not comparison to other guys. These are goals that I want to set upon myself, and just like I want to be completely thrilled and excited when I release an arrow on a bull and when I harvest a bull. And so, yeah, I just want to set my sights a little bit higher this year, see if I can turn up a good one. Like I say, I still got tags in my pocket, a couple tags and a couple hunts coming up, some great adventure. I've got the Hawaii boys are going to come out and hunt elk with me again. My dad has a Wyoming mule deer tag he wants to hunt with his rifle September 15th. Pumped to go on that with him and share experiences. And, man, life is just, you get these reflections, like you say, like in Colorado when you're back there, it's just what's real important in life. And it isn't, it's not my Instagram account. It's not impressing guys or trying to make myself out to be the best bow hunter. Like, it's a personal journey, and it's doing right by my family, it's doing right by my friends, it's being a good person. Like it's and so I want to help my buddies out. I want to help them be more successful. I know my buddy Clint and Dan are down in Idaho right now. I wasn't able to hook up with them down there. So they're down there hunting, but I just want to team up every time I have the chance to kind of help guys out and help them be more successful. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of that too. Is helping my family and friends, helping them find critters and helping them find success. I mean, the look on their faces and excitement is worth as much to me as killing my own. I do absolutely love sharing those experiences with them, and so. I just want to focus on that. I want to focus on having good experiences, helping those guys out, enjoying the hunts I have left, sticking to my goals, not settling, trying to kill a really nice 6-point and seeing if I can get it done. And then just enjoyment of life too. Like, really enjoying these, I have such great opportunity. Like, it's easy for all of us to look at our life and want more. Like, it's human nature. Like, we all want bigger animals, and we all want more time, and we all want to make more money, and we all, it's like it's built into our DNA. We all want more. But when you sit back and look at things like, man, I have as good a life as I could ever hope for. Like, me as a 20-year-old kid trying to plan out my life and what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, like, I couldn't have planned it out any better. Like, sure, it'd be nice to have a few more zeros in the bank account, or sure, it'd be nice if I killed that 205-inch mule deer that was 36 inches wide. But you know what? Like, I have opportunity. Like, I get to spend days in the mountains. I get to raise my family in this great little community. I've got life by the balls. Like, I get to work in the hunting industry. I get to do this podcast. Like, that's another thing. That's sitting up in Colorado. It's just like, man, being able to have this loyal following of you guys that support everything I do and download these episodes and enjoy them. Like, that's just amazing to me. Like, I've created this out of nothing, just sharing my hunting experiences with you. And part of me, I just don't want to let you guys down or put that on the back burner. Like, I just want to continue to just push hard to be as good at conversation and at podcasting as I can be, really tracking down these next level guests and having these insightful conversations that are going to help you guys be more successful. And I just can't tell you, like, how much I appreciate all the support and, like, how much joy it brings me to get these messages of you guys being successful. I got a message from Taylor, and he shot this great buck with this sticker out the side. He actually called me after he shot it, and he was so stoked. And I mean, I've got multiple messages of guys being successful and attribute some of their success to the podcast, and that just means the world to me. And so, like, here I am. I've got all these things, and I've structured my life the way I want to structure it. I'm getting time. I'm going on more adventures than I could even imagine going on, and I just keep moving the bar. I keep thinking of new places and new spots to go and new states, and man, I got to take a step back and just enjoy what I've got. Like, and I'm healthy. My family's healthy. Like, I'm able to run the mountains like a madman, and I'm still able to hunt hard with a backpack. And I just want to continue that going and continuing forward. Like, I just want to enjoy it. Like, I've got a really good life, and, like, sure, you can always look at somebody that's got it better. You can always look at somebody that kills something bigger. You can always look at somebody that has more money and think, I want that. The grass is always greener on the other side, but you better enjoy, like, where you're at and what you have too. Like, it's good to be driven, but it's also good to be humble and to appreciate what you have and to look at things and go, yeah, man, I've got it really good. Like, it would be a disservice to all you guys listening, to a disservice to my family if I wasn't enjoying life to the fullest. So, like, I really want to put my emphasis on that, on being happy, on enjoying the experience. I still want to be driven. I still want to work hard at things, but, I don't, I don't want to ruin the experience, because I'm so focused and so goal driven. It's like, man, you better stop and smell the roses around the, as you're going. And the other thing too is hunting's always changing. Like we're having to evolve on the fly. Like, I'm used to Colorado seeing 100 different bucks, and now it's changed. I just got to move on and find another spot. But there's always good spots to go find. There's always that next great hunting spot is out there right now. Like you just got to keep going and keep doing your research and keep working hard at it. But yeah, I just don't. I want to keep putting effort into the things that I really enjoy, the things that make me happy, including this podcast, my writing. I've really enjoyed capturing some of these hunts on film, and sure, it puts an added degree of difficulty on you. You're not just you making a stalk on an animal. You've actually got to get two guys into place. So, therefore your standards have to lower a little bit too, and you have to be okay with that. Like it's capturing critters on film, and eventually, I'll get pretty good with two guys hunting them and be able to work in and, hopefully kill some of these next level bucks and bulls. But in the meantime, man, I'm going to enjoy the journey. And I just recommend that you do the same, that you really enjoy your time of field. So, okay, I said I wasn't going to make this one long, and I start getting long-winded talking about all these things, but, it's just, us being Americans, we have, we have such great opportunity and opportunity to make money. I mean, they say like if you make $30,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of what the world makes. Like you're wealthy, and it just doesn't feel like that all the time. As it's tough to make ends meet. Like life is so expensive. Like just to support a household and to support kids and to pay your bills is really tough. And then to be able to get free time or free money to be able to spend on hunting gear or something like that, like man, it's tough. Especially as like some of you younger guys too that haven't made your money yet, or haven't made your career yet, or still young, but you guys are doing the right thing. Like putting your effort into your passion is never a bad thing, and it just it makes you a better person. Like I talked about, I want to be a next level contractor, a next level hunter, a next level father, a next level husband. Like, and I owe it to my family that I'm gone and they support me. Like when I'm here, I better be present and I better be working really hard. And like what I was trying to explain earlier is like even after work, even late at night, whatever it is, 10 at night, like I find the energy to get myself up and get my run in, whether it's morning, whether it's evening, whatever it is. And I need to like find that same energy around the house all the time too. Like being more productive with my time. That was something I thought about up there. Like, what's sitting in front of the TV doesn't do me any good. And yeah, there's an hour there where I like to unwind and sit with the wife, and there's quality time that we spend together. And, that's a good thing, but I can't get trapped in front of that thing. Like there's so many things that I can do and get done in that evening time, and spending time with my kids. My wife is one of them, but in that same breath, like, man, I can be busy. I can be out, whether it's reorganizing the garage, whether it's shooting my bow. I just want to be more effective, more efficient with my time. I just like, if there's an extra hour in the day, I want to squeeze something in that I can get done, something more. And same thing with the morning, just being more efficient with my time in that early morning. Like I don't need to sit and drink coffee for an hour. Like have a cup of coffee and get it rolling, like get going, and so I just want to be more effective, more efficient with my time. Yeah, so many thoughts on life here, right? You guys are like my therapy session, but these hunting trips, they give me so much clarity in my life. Like it's just amazing. Like I could have time to think about my life when I'm sitting here, when I'm working away, and you think about things, but you're in it. You can't get away from it, and so you can't like think about it objectively. Like it's like when you're in the mountains and you get some distance and some space, like you just realize like how important your family is, how important your friends are, and like and then you also think about like how precious life is, like how little time you have, and how you better spend as much time trying to enjoy it as you can. But it's crystal clear back there. Like I can step away from my life and almost look at it and like go like, these are ways I can improve. These are ways I can be happier. And like I'm sitting right here with just pages of notes that I haven't even looked at during the podcast, but just pages of notes that I wrote down back there that I just think of, that it just like, like these amazing revelations that are going to make my life better. And it's fleeting too. Like once you get back into life and you get back into the rhythm, it's tough to think about those things in that same way. And so like it's a powerful tool to have that escape that we have. And so to get back and learn these things, like you just come back and want to be a better person. And that includes wanting to be a better hunter. So okay, a couple of the things I've learned just for some last tidbits, some last tips for you guys going into season. Your mind is going to play tricks on you. It is going to have you try to worry about work. It's going to have you try to worry about family and things. Just take care of all your stuff before you leave. And then when you're out there, just remember it's your time. Like, and once you're back there, like, keep putting forth that effort. Like you're so gung-ho when you're in that off season or when you're sitting in your house thinking about hunting. When you're back there in the mountains, have that same effort, that same excitement, always seeing what's over that next mountain. Always be willing to put forth the effort to find your critters. Like you feel so good when you work so hard towards your goals and then achieve them. Like, just remember that when you're back there, like even in Colorado, right? Like, you're not finding, I'm not turning up a lot of bucks. It's tougher hunting, but I just keep pushing. I just keep like, what's over the next one? What's in that basin? Okay, they're not in that basin. Like, what's my next move? What's my next game plan? Like, make sure that when you're back there and you're on your hunt, like, man, go for it. Like, go hard. Like, just chase those things around, and you're going to feel better when you finish your hunt, whether you tagged out or not. Like, just going hard and putting forth that effort. Just remember that when you're back there. Prepare yourself for it. So, your mind's going to play tricks on you. Don't let that grab a hold of you. Don't let it make you give in early. Don't be thinking about things you shouldn't be thinking about up there. Like, immerse yourself in the hunt. Immerse yourself in the mountains. That's the only thing that matters at that point in time. Like, sure, if you had a family emergency, you'd have to call your hunt early, or if you had something happen, stuff can happen that's beyond your control that you have to call it quits and throw in the towel. But for the most part, like, everything's taken care of. Like, no matter what it comes up, like, they'll take care of it. It'll be fine. Like, focus on your hunt. Making sure you're putting forth all that effort up there in the mountains. Like always trying to do everything you can do to kill a buck or to kill a bull, and eventually it comes together. Stalking, like, man, be Neo in the Matrix. But seriously, like, just evaluate and like trust your decision making. Like, wind is number one. Like we talked about, man, if you get a good wind, or you wait till the afternoon and you got those directional winds, like, really wait to dial in that wind. And then like stalking is just so about knowing what you can get away with and what you can't. Like, never popping your head like over the ridge line, or walking down in the open, or like if a buck can see you, you go miles around to go all the way around him, just don't take any shortcuts, and believe in it. And if you make the right moves, those deer, they can't pick you out. Like sure, they're really good at their game and they're really switched on, and they are going to catch you here and there, but man, if you stick to your game plan, you've got a good wind, and you move in slow, methodically, and as you start getting close, like, don't rush it. Like, really be looking around in your peripheral. God, I always screw up that word. Peripheral? Perfect. But be looking at your peripheral out your sides, like, to try to catch a buck you didn't see, or if your buck moved, or if your bull moved, like, trying to catch that coming over the rise before they catch you. Like just really paying attention to those details, and you can creep, right in on those things. Like, gosh, my last 3 stalks on mule deer had just put me right inside bow range, 30, 40 yards from those things, or whatever the case, wherever my shot comes. But just being able to look at it, judge it correctly, know when your time to move is, and then, not taking any shortcuts and moving in. But pay attention to your stalks and don't rush it in the end. Keep calm and collective. And then, on your shot, just make sure you're giving it an extra few seconds for your pin to settle in the middle. And my shots have been breaking great. And I don't want to get into a bunch of release talk again. As last time I started talking about it, it was 20 minutes. And 20 minutes. Hell, it was probably like 45 minutes of talking releases. But here's the deal. Like, you practice hard. You can be good with whatever you practice with. You can be good with a hinge, with a thumb, with a trigger, whatever it is. But you have to make correct practice. So in my journey, I told you guys I was switching back to a trigger release. I I like hunting with the trigger. My shots have been executing really good, really clean. I do notice that I fall back into bad habits really quick practicing with the trigger, and all of a sudden I'm not as good a shot as I am with a hinge or with a thumb. Like, I'm just being honest. That back tension style of shooting is the best way to shoot. It's the correct way to shoot. It's why all those tournament shooters shoot it, But in hunting situations, there are times when you need to make your shot go. So, I mean, that does still hold true. Now, for me, like, I start slipping into bad habits again with that trigger, and so I have to practice the correct way all the time. And so I've been shooting with my hinge a lot, and then I've also been shooting a real back tension style with my trigger, and that seems to be working really well for me, where I squeeze as I'm holding my pin on the center of the target and the shot breaks. So correct shot execution. But I do punch a trigger better than I punch anything else. And not that I want to go around punching, but when I need to make that shot go, I can make it go and make it go accurately. And then if I have time to sit on my shot and they don't know I'm there and I sit on my shot and I pull, it hits right where it's supposed to. So it's been working really good for me, but man, you can make any one of those work good for you. Like, you have to find the right thing for you. And I've been hunting with a thumb for the last 10 years and been extremely successful. So it's not me switching releases that is finding me executing. Like, I'm just trying to up that percentage and lower the amount that can go wrong on deer, elk, antelope, you name it. Like, I just want to execute clean shots and clean kills. This seems to be working for me right now, but you can be good with anything out there. The one thing I will say with the releases, so whatever release you're using, make sure that thing isn't sticky. I find that my releases get sticky after carrying them around in the dirt and the dust or practicing them with them for a while. Like, you'll notice that they start, like, the trigger starts getting a little sticky or a little tougher to pull, and it's really not that noticeable. Like, you could think everything's fine and go out hunting with it, and I think I have before. But you just need such a crisp, clean trigger. Like, I right before season, like, I was starting to shoot, and like, my shooting was off, and I noticed that my trigger was just getting a little sticky, like it was a little tougher to pull. Maybe it wasn't as sharp. Cleaned it up. I think I had some silicone lubricant spray in there, like some gun silicone based lubricant spray in there, and man, that thing's just clean and sharp and snaps. But you guys, check your releases. Like, it's not something that you can really tell, but a sharp, clean release makes all the difference in the world when executing in animals, and makes all the difference on your grouping too. It's just amazing. And I like a stiff trigger. I always have, to where you have to pull and aim hard at that animal. I almost like to lessen my trigger a little bit for hunting. Like, and I've never really sat on a buck or something and waiting for my shot to break. Usually they break pretty quick no matter what you're doing. But like, if that has any hold to it or any snag or any delay in your release, like, it makes such a big difference in your accuracy. So make sure you clean up your release before hunting season. Make sure you lubricate it up with some silicone spray. Just make sure that thing is clean and crisp, because you start getting out in the mountains and you get a little dirt and dust in it. Like, man, that thing just doesn't shoot the same. And so it's going to be a common habit and practice of mine now to clean my release before every single hunt. I just think it makes such a big difference in accuracy. And it's one of those little things that isn't really talked about, or, you don't really read about or anything. But seriously, guys, check your releases before hunting season. Make sure they're clean and crisp. Making your stocks on animals. Man, a bedded animal just gives you such a high percentage stock. Like, bedding those mule deer, it's just dang near night and day. You just know where they're at. You know they're not going to move. And then I get in close, and like I've told you guys, have that buck make that last move. And I've done that. Every animal I've killed this year, I've let that animal make the last move. I wait for them to get up out of their bed and start feeding out of their bed, and then that's where I've made my play. So I can go back. My caribou, I had them bedded at 45 yards, had to wait for them to stand, start feeding, shot them. Nevada muley, I crawled in the sage and got within my bow range. He stood up. I waited to draw my bow. That's another one. Like, patience kills a buck all the way around from start to finish, but wait to draw that bow till they're not looking at you. Like, a mule deer doesn't always see you when he's looking in your direction. And that Nevada buck, he stood up and he was looking right in my direction. I didn't move a muscle. And I waited, and maybe a minute went by, maybe 45 seconds, and he turned and turned around and put his head down. And then I'm able to check my range again one more time and draw back and just put a perfect shot on him. Same thing with that Colorado muley. I'm 25 yards from him in his bed for 3 hours, and then he finally stands up and feeds out, and I take my shot. Antelope wasn't that way, but I did make the antelope make the last move. I got into 80 yards and then let those bucks just feed into me. And then, he finally gave me an opportunity and a chance. But let those animals make that last move, because if you're trying to make the last move, you're trying to force a situation. You're trying to come around that tree where you can get an angle on his body. And now sometimes it works out where you work into range and you get a shot at him. But for the most part, let that animal make the last move and be patient in there. And man, it's amazing what a workout. Be patient in the crunch. And then, I guess the only other takeaway I have is just comparison is the thief of happiness. There's a lot of quality guys killing big quality critters out there, but we're all on our own journey, and we all, have our own opportunity and our own chance to be in the mountains. But don't lessen your experience because you didn't kill a 200-inch buck. Do you know how tough it is to kill a 200-inch buck with your bow? It's probably one of the most sought after things out west. You just can't compare yourself to this upper echelon all the time. And sure, we all want to be there and we all want to kill giant critters, but our turn will come. If we keep putting in the work and we keep becoming better bow hunters, better at our stalking, better at our shooting, better at our scouting, better at finding new areas, like our trophy critters will come. We'll get our day in the sun. Don't you worry about it. We just keep putting in the work. We're on our own path and our own journey. And hunting it's a lifelong passion, and it's something that I'm continuing to improve at, and continuing to get better. But just make sure that, I'm happy for these guys out there, and I want to continue to be happy. And like I've said that before, I don't get caught into jealousy. Somebody kills a good buck, I'm really stoked for them, no matter who it is. I know they put in the work, but in that same breath, something was inside me a little bit, almost comparing myself to this, and I just got to let that go. I can't. Comparison is the thief of happiness. We're all on our own journey. Be psyched for those guys. They put in the work. They have their day in the sun, but we'll have ours too. We'll keep working hard, keep putting in our time, and become the best bow hunters we can be in this new age bow hunter, that can solve these backcountry problems and come out successful. So, I'm super stoked. Can't wait for the rest of the season here. But those would be my takeaways from season so far. I got to cut this out. I'm already 110 minutes. I'm gonna. I don't want to lull you guys to sleep in 2 hours, but I just wanted to share some of my feelings and thoughts on these latest hunts. It's been an absolutely awesome, insane August. I just had so many great bow hunting adventures, and shared so many great hunts with friends, and then had success of my own. Man, I'm having fun. I'm really enjoying life to the fullest, and I just can't wait for these next couple hunts and spending time with my family here and getting some responsibility and some work done. But can't wait to chase Montana elk. I'm really excited for that one. But I know you guys have some good hunts coming up. Man, I wish you guys the best of hunting. You guys are you're putting in all the right work, with the, you just with gathering information through these podcasts, you can just shorten your learning curve so much and pick up so many tidbits and learn so much. And there's so many great podcast hosts out there. So you guys are putting in the right work there. And I know you guys are shooting your bows and trying to become better and working out. And then, you have these hunts planned. Man, give it your all while you're in there. Leave it all on the field, and be surprised with what you come up with. So, thanks a bunch, guys, for all the support. That's the episode. I'll check in with you guys next week.